Know the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte made an appeal to the doctors to refrain from revealing in public regarding their pleas from the government. The president said he understands if the healthcare workers are bone-weary but still encourages them to stay the course. Our Malacanang correspondent Argel Getucos has this report.
President Duterte has called on the Filipino physicians and their groups to refrain from revealing in public whatever pleas or requests they want from the government. The president stated this Sunday evening when he heeded the appeal of the Department of Health to revert the quarantine status of Metro Manila to modified enhanced community quarantine. The president has placed Metro Manila, Laguna, Cavite, Rizal, and Bulacan under MECQ following the recent surge in coronavirus cases.
Yung mga health workers na hindi connected sa gobyerno, we will try to help. But that there is no need for you and for the guys, ng 1,000 of you, telling us what to do publicly. You could have just wrote us a letter. Lahat naman ng sinasabi ninyo, sinusunod namin. You know, it's the resources. Ang pera, may gusto kayong bilhin ko. Ang problema, ang bulsa ko, butas na yung isa.
While he seemed upset with the doctor Sunday night, the president still supported the request of Chief Implementer Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. regarding the compensation for medical frontliners.
Especially yung health worker, na he is even expose herself or himself to the danger, and then later on parang he will feel discriminated. That anguish, parang parang hindi natin man. And then they spend also money for their own medicine, for her own medicine. It is proper lang na mabigyan natin kahit konti, kahit na 10,000 set each.
I agree with you. Even 15. So sorry.
The president said he understands if the healthcare workers are bone weary but still encourages them to stay the course.
We are aware that you are tired, that you have worked almost even beyond 24 hours a day. So ito kasi yung wala kami matakbuhan. Kayo yung nag-aral. Kayo yung may alam. Na ngayon, kung sabihin ninyo na anong mabuti, and you raise the spectacle of yung ang agony ninyo, you treat it as if you're ready to stop to work. Huwag naman ganun kasi kawawa ang mga kababayan. Sino naman asahan namin?
The latest MECQ order will start midnight of August 4 and will last until August 18.
President Duterte defended the government's pandemic response as he blasted the Neanderthal critics who belittle such efforts but offer no concrete solutions. Duterte maintained that the government is not neutral in dealing with the coronavirus crisis, citing plans to provide additional benefits for health frontliners. The president even urged Congress to include more benefits for workers such as free and frequent testing, life insurance, and free transportation and accommodation in the proposed Bayanihan 2 law. He likewise approved the proposal to provide 15,000 pesos to health workers with mild coronavirus infection. The country's medical community earlier asked the president to restore strict lockdown in Metro Manila for 2 weeks to stem the spread of the infections. The announcement was made Sunday night, where the president also blasted critics of their efforts.
But to go almost on a, not really a rampage, but an outrage parang galit at mag-revolusyon. So huwag naman ganun kasi alam ninyo nagtatrabaho kaming lahat. Kung yan lang ang makaya ng pera natin, hindi hanggang dyan lang tayo. Hindi naman kami nabuti nakaupo lang dyan, nandyan yung pera, hindi naman pinapagalaw. Everybody's trying.
Shape up or bear the brunt of my leadership. That is the warning of President Duterte against the erring barangay officials in his latest address to the nation. He even assures the stiffest punishment is waiting if they fail to comply. Our Malacanang senior correspondent Jeneline Cabiling tells us more.
President Rodrigo Duterte has again warned erring barangay officials to shape up or bear the brunt of his leadership. The president made the warning the night he approved an appeal by the medical workers to place Metro Manila and select provinces under stricter measures. The president assures barangay personnel of the stiffest punishment should they fail to provide essential service to their constituents.
I'm sure that you know nothing or little at all about governance if you are there into corruption. Kaya kung wala kayong nalaman, talagang nagagalit na ako. Kaya wala akong respeto sa iyo. I have no compunction about sending you to jail or suspending you until the last day of 2 years from now. Para mawala kayo sa horizon. You are already removed from the political horizon. You do not deserve to stay in the government a minute longer.
Still, the president is relying on these local leaders to assist the national government, specifically the next 2 weeks, which will be crucial in the country's effort to return to a more relaxed state.
Isauli mo sa tao yung honor na binibigay nila sa inyo. Binigay ninyo. Ay binigay sa inyo ng tao. You work. Strictly enforce ang quarantine, lalo na yung lockdown.
The appeal was made shortly after the president approved the cabinet's recommendation to bring back Metro Manila and nearby provinces under modified enhanced community quarantine for the next 2 weeks to stem the spread of the disease. Medical frontliners earlier called for a timeout and appealed to the president to revive the strict lockdowns to avert the collapse of the country's healthcare system amid the surging cases of infections. For MB Now, this is Jeneline Cabiling reporting.
The president has again placed Metro Manila, Laguna, Cavite, Rizal, and Bulacan under MECQ following the plea of our healthcare workers due to the recent surge in coronavirus cases. Now that we are back to MECQ, here are some important reminders we should know. Everyone must stay at home, especially for elderly, kids, and the youth. Exercise is allowed but for limited outdoor activities only, such as walking, jogging, running, and biking with safety protocols like wearing masks and 2-meter physical distancing. Gathering is allowed but for maximum of 5 persons only with safety precautions. There will be no public transportation, no domestic flight but limited for international flights, and no inter-island travel. Private vehicles are allowed to travel with 2 persons per row only. For motorcycle, bicycle, and e-scooter can travel but for 1 person only and should be authorized person outside of residence. Work from the government must be on a skeletal on-site and work from home setup. Most importantly, better stay at home and let's all do our part in our combat against COVID-19. In Metro News, Manila, to adopt alternative work arrangement under MECQ. MECQ can reduce COVID-19 transmission according to UP expert. And Malasakit movement to give 40 tablets, 10 smartphones to poor students. More from this report.
The Manila City Government will adopt an alternative work arrangement under the Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine starting tomorrow. Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Domagoso on Monday signed Executive Order Number 34 to ensure the unhampered operation and functioning of the city in delivering basic services and needs to its constituents. However, proactive measures in protecting the health and well-being of its city officials and employees must also be taken. Senior citizens, persons with disabilities, and those who are below 21 years old who are employees of the city government will also be on work from home alternative work arrangement. The return of Mega Manila to modified enhanced community quarantine starting August 4 to 18 can reduce the spread of coronavirus disease, according to an expert from the University of the Philippines. MECQ will limit public transport and work in some industries where virus transmissions recently occurred, according to Dr. Guido David of UP Institute of Mathematics and member of the UP OCTA research. However, David noted that flattening the curve is still not possible because MECQ is too short. David explained that in Cebu, it took them a month before they flattened the curve. The MECQ will also help a lot because in theory, the virus can disappear in 2 weeks if there's no transmission. 40 more tablets and 10 smartphones will be given away by Malasakit Movement, a non-government organization, to underprivileged students. The 40 tablets and 10 smartphones were purchased by Metropolitan Manila Development Authority Assistant Secretary Celine Pialago, the founder of Malasakit Movement. According to Pialago, teachers of underprivileged students may also write to the NGO on behalf of their students who really need the gadget the most. Malasakit Movement's Letter of Hope program seeks to provide educational gadgets to underprivileged students who help them cope with the learning challenges in time of pandemic. To apply for the program, students must send them a letter to the Malasakit Movement official Facebook page.
Here are the top news in other parts of the country. Abra and Baguio record highest number of new COVID-19 cases on Sunday. Nurse in Palawan killed during an ambush. And a barangay in Davao de Oro placed under localized ECQ. More in this report.
The province of Abra in Baguio City recorded the highest number of new cases of coronavirus disease on Sunday, August 2. Abra Governor Jocelyn Bernos confirmed 9 new COVID-19 positive cases in the province on Sunday, with 6 of them coming from the town of Lacu and 1 each from the towns of Banged, Pidigan, and Penarubia. There are now 13 active cases in the province. The province also reported its first death in an 84-year-old female from the town of Danglas on Saturday. Governor Bernos appealed to the public to stay calm, stay home, and strictly follow the health protocols such as wearing of masks, social distancing, and regular sanitizing or washing of hands. A nurse for Palawan Rescue 165 was killed while the driver sustained gunshot wounds in an ambush on Saturday afternoon in Barangay Dumarao, Rojas Town in Palawan. In a statement, Governor Jose C. Alvarez accused New People's Army who are capable of doing such incident. The Provincial Task Force Ending Local Communist Armed Conflict also condemned the incident that killed one of the civilian frontliner. The nurse was identified as Algerong Bernardo, 51 years old, while the driver was identified as Alex de la Peña, 51 years old, both residents of Puerto Princesa City. According to a report, they were on their way on board white Toyota Hilux from Puerto Princesa City to Dumaran Town as their area of assignment when armed men started shooting at their car. A barangay in Nabunturan town in Davao de Oro was placed under localized enhanced community quarantine on Sunday, August 2, after a male minor who had no travel history tested positive for the coronavirus disease. According to the local government unit of Nabunturan, the patient works for a mining company in Barangay Masara. He underwent a rapid test initiated by the company last July 25. After testing positive, the 59-year-old patient who resides in Barangay Mainit went to temporary treatment and monitoring facility in Nabunturan, where he and his child, who is the only person he lives with at home, were isolated. The age of the child was not specified. They underwent swab tests on July 28 and the minor tested positive while the child tested negative. According to the provincial local government unit, the patient was asymptomatic and had no history of travel where there are local transmission. Mayor Chalita Amatong placed Barangay Mainit in local ECQ following the incident.
Let's have a quick roundup of world news. Firefighters struggling to contain blaze in Southern California. SpaceX brings NASA astronauts home safe in a milestone mission. And walrus walls in new Belgian Animal Park hotel rooms. More details in this report.
More than 1,300 firefighters were battling a blaze that was burning out of control Sunday in Southern California, threatening thousands of people and homes east of Los Angeles. The so-called Apple fire that broke out Friday near the city of San Bernardino has so far charred more than 8,000 hectares, sending up columns of smoke visible from far away. It was so smoky that authorities declared an air quality alert Saturday evening. At least 2,600 homes and nearly 7,800 people were evacuated, and officials said it was not clear when they might be able to come back. A probe is underway as to the cause of the fire, which officials said may have been set deliberately. America's first crewed spaceship to fly to the International Space Station in nearly a decade returned safely to Earth on Sunday, splashing down in the Gulf of Mexico. The successful mission, carried out jointly by SpaceX and NASA, demonstrated that the United States once again has the capacity to send its astronauts to space and bring them back. Around an hour after splashdown, the astronauts exited the capsule and now await a helicopter ride to shore, followed by a plane trip to Houston, where they will reunite with their families. It was the first water landing for a crewed U.S. spaceship since the 1975 Apollo-Soyuz mission. It's wall-to-wall walrus and unusual hotel rooms that have just opened in a Belgian animal park. The Paradisa Animal Park allows guests to check in and spend the night in one of the 6 igloo-themed rooms, looking to the pool holding a pair of walruses. Each room will cost you around 129 euros or almost 8,000 pesos per person. The sea animals are far from shy, often bumping up against the reinforced glass to check out these humans beneath the surface.
In entertainment, comedy actor Michael V is on the way to recovery after contracting COVID-19. On his interview in the Chika Minute segment of GMA News 24 Oras Weekend, the comedian said he is getting better now and his sense of smell is improving. He also gave pieces of advice to patients who contracted the virus. Don't let stress win you over in the course of quarantine period. Michael V intends to donate blood plasma once he recovers from the disease. Alex Gonzaga and fiancé Mikey Morada marked a milestone in their relationship as engaged couple. The two and their respective families recently met for what Filipinos called pamamanhikan, a custom where a man pays a visit to the home of his intended bride. In this occasion, his family will ask the formal blessing of the woman's family for the wedding. Alex shared a glimpse of the important event on her YouTube channel, which coincides with her 3rd anniversary as a YouTube vlogger. At the end of the video, Alex extended her gratitude to her subscribers for supporting her vlog and for witnessing all the important moments in her life. Alex and Mikey got engaged in December 2019 during their trip to Hong Kong. And in sports, the planned return of practices in the professional level suffered a setback after the government imposed modified enhanced community quarantine in Metro Manila and surrounding provinces beginning Tuesday. With MECQ set to be implemented at least until August 18, training sessions of PBA, Chooks to Go Pilipinas 3x3-on-3, and Philippines Football League teams will be delayed anew. Only individual practices are allowed in MECQ areas based on the Joint Administrative Order of the Games and Amusements Board, Philippine Sports Commission, and DOH. Practices are only permitted in GCQ and MGCQ areas, provided the safety protocols are observed. PBA Commissioner Willie Marshall said Monday morning that he will ask the Makati Medical Center to push back this week's scheduled swab testing. On the other hand, the Philippine Football Federation announced that the start of the PFL training sessions at the National Training Center in Carmona, Cavite was deferred to the 3rd week of the month due to the new regulations. Most players and staff of PFL clubs were given clearance to start training when they testing negative after undergoing RT-PCR procedure at the PFF office several weeks ago. May mali yata doon. For more news and details, get a copy of the Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow or log in to www.mb.com.ph. I am Barbie Atienza for Manila Bulletin, celebrating its 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.